Well, a bit later on in just a few minutes, YouTubers who got arrested for doing a challenge, the overnight challenge. We'll explain how that is in just a few minutes. But first, we have to look at some COVID here. As you know, it marks 2 years since COVID yesterday, so we're still at 662 million cases in the state of Texas with 86,455. And now we've reached 92,000, which still are 1,400 deaths, so that narrows it down to 1,472 tests. Almost a million tests have been taken, so in the 7-day average since March 5th, over 900 tests have been taken, with the positive test over 20,000, and 3% are now have been positive. Hospitalizations, well, since March 10th, since Thursday, over 25,000 people been hospitalized, and over 5,300 people in ICU, almost 5,400. As for vaccinations, well, 71.5% have had at least one dose, which now makes it 20.7 million. 17.4% fully vaccinated. That makes it 60.3%. We gotta climb up there. In the US, 556 million doses have been taken and 216 people have been fully vaccinated, which makes the population fully vaccinated so far 65.7%. We're getting close to the C range. 0 through 65, that's an F. 70 through 80, that's a C average. 80 through 90, that's a B. 90 through 100, that's an A grade. Remember that. We're still at the F grade here in Texas and in the United States. We're still in the F grade. We have to climb up to that A. So make sure you guys get vaccinated. We got to keep climbing to the A. And let me tell you something. I've been vaccinated and I still feel good to this day. And ever since yesterday's turn to 2 years of COVID, a lot of issues. I mean, with spring break happening, are the cases going to rise again? We still don't know. But we have known so far. But what we have known so far is that not many people are getting vaccinated. A lot of people are not taking this very seriously. So, what's going to happen now? Here we get to the upload stuff. So, but here's some great news. The TSA extends the travel mask mandate until April 18th. That is some very good news. What about for buses? We still don't know. If I have to talk to the RTA about this, I will. But all I can say is we have to make sure we get vaccinated. And until we do that, we have to follow these tips. And those tips being, we all have to make sure that we're vaccinated. If you have COVID, you need to make sure you stay quarantined. Stay in your house. Do not leave. Don't leave the house unless you gotta take out the trash. Or you're gonna take out the trash, take out the trash. If you only gotta take out the trash, go get the mail. It's the only time you can do it. You can't go out, talk to your friends, go outside, play basketball. Quarantine, you stay quarantined. If you want to play basketball, get yourself a basketball video game. You want to play, You can do anything. You can sit on the couch. You can sleep all day. You can play video games. You can watch TV. You're quarantined. But many people don't care. And masks too, very important. At the nose, not down here nor down here. Social distance, 6 feet. Wash your hands. If you're in school, make sure you disinfect your area. And what about our local schools, speaking, you might ask? Well, ever since Friday, there's been zeros. And Thursday's been zeros. Wednesday's been zeros. All last week, we're back to zero range. Perfect. But how's that going to affect us for next week? During spring break? Well, we could see another rise because of school breaks. Also, if you're diagnosed with COVID, get the vaccine. And make sure you test negative. Test negative, you gotta get back the paperwork. You gotta get the paperwork in. You don't have the paperwork, then you gotta stay quarantined until you get that paperwork in. If you have a medical condition, let your doctor know beforehand. Mask all day can become really tough. So let's make sure that we're probably just 2 years of this, so let's make sure we avoid these things by staying healthy. Still ahead, you don't have any plans on spring break? Well, I'm here to tell you the plans you may get, tell you some plans, some stuff you can do with spring break. But when we come back, YouTubers getting arrested for the overnight challenge. You don't know what it is? When we come back, we'll tell you. You ever heard of this overnight challenge that's going on YouTube? Well, if you don't know what it is, let me give you a full retrospective. You have to stay at a place, a public place, inside overnight for 24 hours. A challenge that's all over YouTube. A lot of YouTubers have done this, but they've been kicked out. Donald Tracy, Jack Doherty, Lance, I don't know if it was Lance Stewart, but I don't want to throw him under the bus. Big time YouTubers who stayed in overnight for 24 hours. Donald Tracy stayed at his school. He got in trouble and got 5 3-7s. Jack did not stay at the school overnight, but I don't know what happened. So imagine being arrested. That's what happened today. You might remember Saucy and Honey. I don't know who that is, but they got arrested for trespassing, and they're due back in court. Later in March. Here's the latest from Inside Edition. Take a look.
Target is about to close, you guys. We're about to spend the night in Target.
A YouTube couple is in hot water over this video, in which they claim to have spent the night in a Pennsylvania Target.
You guys, do not attempt what we attempt at home. We are entertainers.
They shouldn't have attempted it either, because West Whiteland police saw the video and arrested Johnson LaRose and Charlotte Fisher, known by their 18,000 YouTube subscribers as Saucy and Honey, for criminal trespassing and conspiracy. Surveillance video from inside the store shows them wandering around various sections while recording video of themselves. While LaRose and Fisher told viewers that they spent the night in Target, police say they left through an emergency exit around 3 a.m. and tripped the alarm. But the couple returned to the store when it opened to the public to resume recording their video. The couple was released on a $25,000 unsecured bond, and they're due back in court March 24th. Fisher told a reporter outside of court that she has no regrets, that they were living their life and having fun. But the couple said they would not be doing another stunt like this again. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
Let this be a lesson to all you YouTubers. Actions have consequences. You staying overnight, you're going to get the consequences. The consequences is jail time. And they're due back in court. So Saucy and Honey, you two hit the jackpot. Don't do this again. I don't believe that phrase. I won't do it again. When I hear people say, I won't do it again, almost always next thing out of your mouth is a damn lie. But if you really mean you won't do it again, You really have to mean it. Talk with the viewers and say, hey, I'm going to stop making these overnight videos. I'm going to stop making these YouTube challenges. YouTube should be held accountable for this. And if this was wound up in court, then what they would do is just simply say, well, this, that, and the other. But I don't do that kind of crap. I don't stay in overnight. If I stay overnight in my work and my boss found out about this, I would be fired immediately. They saw that video and then they come look at me and say, what did I see all over the cameras for sleeping overnight? It's more an experiment for give me a break. I was staying overnight. No, I'm actually not, but well, let's say it's not going to happen tonight, but let's say that scenario was true and my boss looked at that video and said that, he would fire me for that. And he would be absolutely right. And let's say that scenario is true, they caught a glimpse of that YouTube video and they went to the boss, and the boss looked at that video and they saw my face on there and they looked at the cameras and see me doing that, it would be the very same thing. You know what would happen when you go in a public place and the alarms were written off? The police would be there and your ass would be arrested for trespassing. The police were involved. And in Dom Tracy's case, he spent 24 hours in the school. Before that, his dad said, well, if you could call, you don't make videos for a month. And so the next day he got caught. Remember, he was in the bathroom. How come he was in the bathroom? He couldn't be wandering the hallways and stuff. He was in the bathroom. He was at a game. Then he was in the bathroom. How can the cameras catch him going up and down the hallway? Remember, he was in the bathroom. So after that, he got 5 3-7s. Now, according to Dom Tracy, you don't know 5 3-7s are. You sit in the class from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. You do nothing but sit there and stare at a wall like this. You put your head down. Another one. You talk like, oh, what you in here for? Slap some kid. What you in here for? I stayed overnight in the school. You get on your phone. Then I gotta take another one. That's from Dom's perspective. You went to his school. So bottom line is here, you guys, don't make these videos unless you want to be filming in jail or getting caught by the police. Don't let this happen again. And maybe when your kids become YouTubers, they'll learn that same lesson. And y'all might be saying, let's just cut these YouTubers some slack. Okay, well, if we're going to cut people some slack, if we're going to cut people some slack, then what else are we going to do? Things have got to change. If this doesn't change, we're going to end up, we're the horse. I mean, in the case with YouTube, the horse is already out of the barn and the genie is out of the bottle. Let's try to keep the horse in the barn and put as much as the genie back into that bottle. Okay, if you want to make your own YouTube channel, you gotta figure out what type of videos you want to make, like real viral videos. I mean, with my channel, I just basically upload this song covers and old news magazine articles. The reason why is basically because I wanted to see if I can get enough subscribers. And I'm already I lost one, and I got back to 1.28K. So thank you guys for those subscribers. So do you have any plans for spring break? If you don't have any plans, when we return, I'll tell you what you can do. Welcome back. Are you in the coastal band and don't have any ideas for spring break? Well, here's some ideas for you. Spring Break 2022, a guide on fun things to do with friends and family. If you live in the coastal bend, or if you live in these areas, you can. Let's get started. You're playing a holiday timer. You can go to the beach. Stone Forest Beaches expect everyone to be packed with locals. Before that, here's what you need to know. No glass containers allowed on the beach. As long as you're legal drinking age, alcohol consumption is allowed. Like I talked about that. Underage drinking is illegal and can cause trouble. Don't drink under 21. The speed limit on the beach is 50 miles per hour and all traffic laws apply, including driving while intoxicated. The police will be there. To park on the beach, you need to have a parking permit. A lot of places don't sell those. Dogs are not allowed on the beach from Access Road 3 to Zahn Road on the north side of Packway Channel, where pallets cannot be used. 3 feet by 3 feet. Concerts. You can go to the Texas State Aquarium if you're in a coastal bend. You can catch a movie. Like just 2 days ago, the new Batman movie came out. You can also sneak in the Batman calzone while watching the movie. I don't recommend you do that. Like the Batman, Uncharted, BTS Mission Dance on Stage, X, Uma, and the Living Earth movie party. Go to Treasure Island if you're in Corpus. Museums. You can go to the Texas Jazz Festival if you live in a coastal bend. Montangle Gardens. You can go there. You want to go bite to eat? Well, you can go and you can go to Spag's Aunt's Kitchen. You can have a slice at Sal's Bronx Pizza. The waterfront. Go over the docks, and afterwards at North Treasure Island for a sweet scuba getter and Latmo gelateria, or go to Scoopy's. What's the difference between Snoopy's and Scoopies? Snoopy's is a fish place. Scoopy's sells ice cream. Shop till you drop. Escape rooms. You can head out to the Riddle Room of Corpus Christi and choose an escape room to solve. Different rooms include finding a red skull in the world of Harry Potter, preparing to escape from zombies, The Walking Dead, and trying to save mankind. USS Lexington. They offers 2 escape rooms. Opening Tuesday, March 15th. Admission to escape room, which includes the vessel, is $38 if you live in USS Lexington. If you fish, you can fish out there. You can hit the bars as long as you're in drinking age. Unless you live in the state of Texas, you have a Texas ID, under 21 ID. That can allow you to drink. I think. I cannot be sure. You can go to the community theater. If you live, you can go to the TAM, University of Corpus Christi. You can go to the Harbor Playhouse. You can go to Del Mar and look at this if you live in the Corpus area. That's basically some ideas for you. But if it's on a budget, here are some other ideas. Like for beach. I mean, this is all for vacations, like Canada, Florida, etc. So that's basically all ideas. But for traveling ideas, you can go to Florida, you can go to Washington, you can go to San Antonio, you see Alamo, you go to USS Lexington. You can do anything on spring break. Or you can just stay home. You can stay home as long as you want. Spend 1 week. Manitoba school officials just 1 week. A week of spring break. So I'm trying to understand here. Spring break should be a fun time. But it's still not going to change. If you're going to travel, make sure you wear your mask. Because like I said before at the beginning of the show, all airlines are still under that mask mandate. You can also go play basketball. You can go to the Little League. You can go to this Little League thing. I think that's happening. I think it's happening during spring break. I don't know. I gotta talk to an old friend. I can't be sure. When we come back, the era of the new normal. We're going to talk with one expert from Channel 6 who will give us an era of the new normal. Don't go away. Like we talked about, yesterday was the 2-year anniversary since the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. You will remember March 11th. You will remember that day when you were in lockdown. You couldn't go hang out with your friends. You had to stay zoomed on Zoom. Well, 2 years to give me a break, I stayed in my studio doing my show. We focused in on the pandemic. And one thing I will never forget was what I talked about. If you look at one of my other videos back then, I did a Zoom bombing investigation. I did a Gimme Break investigation into Zoom bombing. This was during probably during this was during season 3 of my show. This was during the 3rd season, and during that time, we did an investigation into Zoom bombing, looking into a lot of things. Dom Tracy, Jack Doherty, and Nalik were accused of this, and Zax, 4 people. They were charged with a career crime of 5th degree, conspiracy to commit career crime of 5th degree, and breach of peace. But one thing I will not remember was when I talked about a person who licked a toilet seat and got exposed to COVID. I was disgusted. At that time, I was very, very disgusted. That's one topic I will never forget that day. There it is. This was a year ago when I talked about this. So when we come back, I'm gonna play it for you. Well, 1 year ago during this pandemic, I talked about a lady who was on Dr. Phil for creating a challenge. Lick a toilet seat and see if you would get COVID. Well, she did, and she got COVID. But there was one other person. I watched a clip of that episode, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember those names. So if you were to Google up toilet seat licking, her name is Ava Louise. This was back in March. I posted this on April. This is from the Daily Mail. Attention-seeking TikTok star who started a viral toilet seat challenge admits she was a private jet and had disinfected it first. She says she did it for the publicity. Ava explained on Dr. Phil he was an aspiring influencer. The video was allegedly taken over a sugar daddy's private plane while traveling to Miami, Florida for spring break. This was from years ago. That was unacceptable. This is unacceptable behavior. Louise told Dr. Phil that licking a toilet seat was low on the list of questionable things she's done over spring break. This is what she said. 1, I had dirty things in my mouth the whole spring break. 2, I bleached the toilet. 3, private plane. That's what she told him. But that's what really happened here. The United States beach is 137. To like that, so don't ever do that challenge. If it's a hoax, don't ever do that. I heard about this hoax thing from an Uber, from a Lyft driver, doing the same thing. That was years ago. But as we approach this, we're still catching up. We got to get back to normal. We got to be doing the things we love to do. Just trying to get back to normal here. Well, with that being said, it's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Saturday. I'll see you again for Give Me a Break Monday. Follow us here at YouTube and Give Me a Break. Good night. Oh, one more thing coming up tomorrow. Oh, never mind. We have time for school threats. I can't leave you guys without telling you guys some school threats. We talked about one earlier. Now, just 7 hours ago, Iowa Public Schools dances were canceled after threats. This is what the district, the Iowa School District. The district's daddy-daughter dance, which was held at high school on Saturday, was canceled by school officials and law enforcement. Announcement Constantine. School dance canceled Friday due to specific threats. Polls on district basically the district is working. Posts on the Facebooks that work with law enforcement to investigate these threats. They said the dances are expected to be scheduled for a later date. A three-year-old was caught with a loaded gun, but he was probably arrested in juveniles. Burnsville ISD police ID suspects in school weapons threat. Investigators say 2 juveniles with no connection to Burnsville High admit to falsely pointing a gun at campus. It was a prank. It's not a prank. These are very serious. If you make a threat, it's a threat. Don't freaking sit up here and say, no, it's just a prank. I know you guys are joking around, but if you think you're going to post a threat, fake or real, you're not only going to get out of class, you're going to go to jail. A juvenile, this is from Green Bay Press. A juvenile taken into custody after shooting threat at Green Bay West High School. A juvenile was taken into custody after creating a social media post Monday threatening a shooting at Green Bay West High. The threats were investigated by Green Bay Area Schools District and the Green Bay Police Department. In a statement today, the police department encouraged parents to speak with their children about notifying an adult and police immediately. When they see or hear something that may be a threat, they also encourage parents to speak to their students about the serious consequences of anything that can be perceived as a threat. Investigations still ongoing, and the police department said no additional information is available. And just 7 days ago, there was a shooting that happened. According to New York Times, 6 teenagers are charged with murder in Iowa high school. Six teenagers are charged with murder at Iowa school shooting. Now, the boy was killed at the target. 2 teenagers were injured, 16-year-old and 18-year-old females and high students. 18-year-old was listed in critical condition as of Tuesday morning. 16-year-old has been upgraded to serious condition for critical condition. There were multiple shooters, multiple search warrants were had, and a student at the high school told the television station KCCI that the outside heard gunfire. But the Des Moines School District said in the statement that firearms were too easily accessible. But 6 people were arrested. Again, we need to teach kids about this. Police presence needs to be happening. There are bad things going on in our schools. Gang activity, drug activity, bullying in the extreme, and the violence is real. And I hope these kids get charged as adults. Don't let this happen again. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Saturday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Monday. For all of us here at Give Me a Break and YouTube, good night.